Fallout continues over the release of more than 11 million documents dubbed the Panama Papers. If it sounds like a Hollywood movie title for a scandal, it could well be. Think of them as the offshore banking equivalent of the Little Black Book in a brothel raid. That's why they've triggered so much panic around the world among billionaires, world leaders, sports stars, and celebrities. A whistleblower obtained the documents from one of the biggest offshore law firms in the world, based in Panama, Mossack Fonseca. The group that broke the story is the Washington-based International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. We talked to its director, Gerard Ryle, and started by asking, what exactly are the Panama Papers?
What they are basically is a day-by-day, blow-by-blow account of the offshore world. I mean, we're looking at everyone from prime ministers, kings, emirs, presidents around the world, but also drug dealers, people that have been convicted for various crimes, including pedophilia. So what they are basically people who use offshore accounts for secrecy.
What is the benefit to them of, as you say, using offshore accounts?
Well, there are many benefits. It could be, for instance, tax evasion, or it could be to hide their wealth. But often it's actually sometimes it's also to commit a crime.
But the offshore accounts in of themselves aren't necessarily illegal.
Well, it's a very shadowy world, the offshore world. If you go offshore, it's perfectly legal to do what you're doing, assuming you've told authorities. But where you have secrecy, you also have the potential for wrongdoing. And what we're seeing here is both secrecy and actual wrongdoing.
Who are some of the world leaders who've been implicated, and what's been the fallout so far?
Well, we've seen associates, very close associates of Vladimir Putin from Russia. We've got the Prime Minister of Iceland. We have President Poroshenko in Ukraine. So there are a range of different leaders. There's the King of Saudi Arabia, and among others.
This could even shake up governments, as it has in Iceland already.
Yeah, we had fallout almost immediately from the story. I mean, the Prime Minister of Iceland came under an awful lot of pressure because we revealed that he had an offshore account when he entered Parliament, and he didn't declare that. And he has since had to resign as a result of this investigation. We've also had other kind of resignations. For instance, the head of Transparency International in Chile had to resign when it was revealed that he had 5 offshore accounts.
Why would just the revelation of offshore accounts by these government officials be so controversial in those countries?
Well, again, having an offshore account by itself is not illegal, but if you haven't declared it and you're a parliamentarian, then of course it's going to be an issue. And in Iceland, it was a major issue because this offshore company had, it held millions of dollars in bank bonds. And this Prime Minister was elected to sort out the collapse of the financial system in Iceland. So he was sorting out the banks that had collapsed while he owned bonds in those banks.
Because there are no American politician names that have been found so far, does that mean American politicians don't use offshore accounts?
I think what we're seeing here is just a particular subset of information. Mossack Fonseca is one of the biggest setter-ups of offshore accounts in the world, but it is only one of about 800 other firms that do this around the world. So what we're seeing here is just one subset of data.
The Panamanian law firm involved released a statement saying, while we may have been the victim of a data breach, nothing in this illegally obtained cache of documents suggests we've done anything wrong or illegal. Are they correct?
No, I think that they have done things wrong. You see actual evidence that they're helping people avoid taxes around the world. But I think what's most surprising about this all is that the law firm in Panama did not know who the end customer was often. As far as they were concerned, their customers were the big banks and the big accountancy firms and the big law firms. And they didn't care who the actual end client was. They didn't do any due diligence.
In the big picture, what do we learn from this?
I think what we're learning from this is that the range of people that use offshore accounts, they're actually the world's elite. And we're also learning that every time governments crack down on this kind of wrongdoing, the offshore world finds a way of getting around it. These people are just finding more and more clever ways of getting around the law.
When asked about the growing scandal, the founder of the law firm, Jürgen Mossack, said there were no plans to stop his business practices. He told the Wall Street Journal, quote, "We're not going to stop services and go plant bananas or something." Ahead on Full Measure, everyone's talking about getting tough on the border. We have surprising new information on why the Border Patrol hasn't been able to fill more than 1,000 open positions because of a test that disqualifies a lot of potential agents.